Have you ever wondered why some people seem to command respect without even trying? Why no one dares interrupt them, waste their time, or dismiss their words? What makes them different? And more importantly, what do they have that you don't? I'll warn you now, what I'm about to share might sting. The truth is, the respect they earn has nothing to do with being smarter, richer, or more successful. They're not gifted with some secret talent you don't have. What they know, what you've never been taught, is one simple psychological principle. A principle so powerful that once you grasp it, your entire life will feel different. Think about this. Someone cuts in front of you in line, and you stay quiet. A friend cancels on you for the third time in a row, and you just smile, like it's fine. A coworker takes credit for your idea, and you let it slide. Do you know what you're really doing in those moments? You're teaching people that it's okay to disrespect you. You're training them to see you as someone who can be stepped on. And here's the part that should jolt you awake. The people who never deal with this kind of treatment. They're not just lucky. They're using a principle that's been around since Machiavelli uncovered it over 500 years ago. It's a principle that separates those who command respect from those who endlessly chase approval. And here's the hard truth. Your desire to be liked is making you weak. Every time you bend over backward to keep people happy, you're handing them your power. The more you crave approval, the less respect you actually get. This isn't motivational fluff. This is raw human psychology. And it never fails. By the time you finish reading this, you'll see why some people naturally light up a room, while others vanish in the background. Why some voices cut through the noise while others get tuned out. Most importantly, you'll learn how to become the kind of person who never has to wonder if they'll be respected again. The trap of being liked every person who's walked all over you, ignored your boundaries, or treated you like you don't matter. They all spotted the same weakness. They knew you needed their approval more than they needed yours. And that's when the scales tipped against you. When was the last time you truly respected someone desperate to be liked? You didn't. Nobody does. Because desperation has a scent, and everyone can smell it from a mile away. Here's what happens when being liked becomes your mission. You turn predictable. People know you'll laugh it off when they insult you. They know you'll say yes even when you disagree. They know you'll show up, even when they disrespect your time. Predictability makes you replaceable. The harder you try to be liked, the easier you are to overlook. Think about the people you actually respect. Are they the ones begging for your approval, or are they the ones who move through life just fine without it? Human nature is simple. We chase what we can't have, and we undervalue what comes too easily. When you're always available, you stop being special. Machiavelli once wrote, "It is better to be feared than loved, if you cannot be both." He wasn't promoting cruelty. He was exposing a truth about psychology. Respect is born from consequences. Fear, in this sense, doesn't mean terror. It means boundaries with teeth. It means people know there's a cost to crossing you. Look at the people who hold your deepest respect. The tough coach who demanded the best from you. The boss who didn't sugarcoat the truth. The friend who loved you enough to be brutally honest. None of them needed your approval to stand firm. They had lines, and they enforced them. Meanwhile, the people pleasers, they fade into the background, forgotten, ignored, or quietly mocked. Because here's the cold truth. When you're desperate to be liked, the very people you're trying to please see you as weak. They may smile, they may say the right words, but behind closed doors, they know exactly who they can count on to cave for crumbs of attention. The power of respect. Now, Let's flip it. Let's talk about what actually works. Respect. Not the polite, surface-level kind where people nod and smile while secretly disregarding you. I'm talking about the instinctive, unshakable respect that makes people pause before they cross a line with you. And respect always comes back to one thing: consequence. If people know they can disrespect you without paying a price, they will. But if they know there's a line they cannot cross without losing something: your time, your trust, your presence, they'll think twice. Respect doesn't come from being impressive or successful. That's admiration. Respect comes from knowing you won't tolerate being disrespected. It comes from boundaries that aren't just words, but actions. The people you admire for their strength, their authority, their presence. They didn't get there by trying to be liked. They got there by standing firm, even when it meant disappointing others. So ask yourself, do you want to be everyone's backup plan or their first choice? Do you want to be remembered as someone who gave away their power or someone who commanded it? It's time to stop begging for approval. It's time to start demanding respect. Say it out loud. Respect over approval. Power over pleasing. Because the moment you stop chasing everyone's love is the exact moment they start giving you their respect. Have you ever noticed what happens when someone disrespects you and you let it slide? You're not just ignoring it. You're teaching them a lesson. You're teaching them that crossing you is free. No cost, no consequence, no pushback. And when disrespect has no price, people will keep handing it to you over and over again. But flip that around. What happens when someone disrespects you and there's an immediate cost? They lose something. They lose your time. They lose your energy. They lose the privilege of being close to you. That sting is what teaches them to think twice next time. This is why the so-called nicest people often get treated the worst. They've trained the people around them that disrespect is safe, that there's no penalty for flaking, lying, or taking advantage. Once you've made yourself safe to disrespect, earning real respect becomes impossible. But the moment you decide to change the script, when you start showing people your attention and presence have value, everything shifts. People watch their words around you. They weigh their actions more carefully. They treat you like someone who matters. Machiavelli nailed it centuries ago when he said that people will treat you exactly how you allow them to. No better, no worse. Respect is self-reinforcing. The more you demand, the more you receive. And once it starts, it snowballs. Respect builds on itself, while approval-seeking tears it apart. Respect versus approval. Here's the difference nobody tells you. When you chase approval, you're giving control to someone else. You're letting them decide whether or not you're worthy. You've made your value dependent on their reaction. But when you demand respect, you take the power back. Respect isn't something they decide to give you. Respect is something you establish by refusing to accept less. Think about the most respected people in your life. Do they beg for it? Do they explain why they deserve it? Do they compromise who they are just to make others comfortable? Not a chance. Their power comes from one thing: a zero-tolerance policy for disrespect. They don't negotiate their worth. That refusal, that line in the sand, becomes the source of their strength. This is the line that separates the powerful from the powerless. The powerful know that respect is non-negotiable. The powerless think they can buy respect with kindness, generosity, or endless self-sacrifice. But here's the truth. You'll never earn respect by handing over your power. You only gain it by holding on to it. Say this out loud. My worth isn't debatable. The psychology of control. Here's something most people miss. Every single interaction you have is about control. Who's steering the conversation? Who's defining the terms of the relationship? Who's shaping the outcome? And here's the kicker. If you don't know who's in control, it's not you. Approval seekers give away control without even realizing it. Every time you swallow your words to avoid conflict, you hand control of your voice to someone else. Every time you say yes when your gut screams no, you hand control of your choices away. Every time you change your behavior just to win someone's approval, you hand control of your life over to them. People who don't need approval never make that trade. They keep control because they live by their own terms. They speak their truth, whether others like it or not. They make choices based on what they want, not what others expect. That's what makes them powerful. They can't be manipulated. The cost of approval addiction. The need for approval doesn't just make you feel small. It enslaves you. When you crave someone's approval, you'll twist yourself into whatever shape they want. You'll hide parts of yourself. You'll betray your own values. You'll wear a mask just to keep them happy. That's not a relationship. That's servitude with a smile. But when you cut the cord, when you're okay with someone disliking you if it means staying true to yourself, you take all the power back. Suddenly, they can't use your need against you. They can't guilt you, shame you, or pressure you into compliance. You've made yourself untouchable. Machiavelli once said, "Everyone sees what you appear to be. Few experience what you really are." The moment you stop performing for other people's approval, you become unpredictable. And unpredictability is power. Breaking free. So what happens when you escape the trap of needing approval? 3 things. First, people can't manipulate you anymore. They can't push buttons that no longer exist. Guilt trips, shaming, subtle pressure. None of it sticks when you don't need their validation. Second, your decision-making becomes sharp and clear. You stop asking, "What will make them happy?" and start asking, "What's best for me?" You stop twisting yourself into knots, trying to please everyone else, and you focus on pleasing the one person whose opinion truly matters, yourself. Third, your relationships transform. Some people will hate the new you because they can't control you anymore. They'll drift away. Let them. The ones who stay, those are the real ones. Those are the relationships built on respect, not desperation. This shift changes everything. It takes you from, "I hope they like me," to, "I don't care if they like me." And in that moment, you finally discover the freedom and the power that comes with being untouchable. Have you ever noticed the shift that happens when you move from asking, "What do they think of me?" to declaring, "What do I think of them?" From whispering, "I hope they approve of me," to demanding, "They need to earn my respect." That shift is everything. Say this out loud right now. I control my worth. The addiction to approval. Let's get brutally honest. Your craving for approval isn't just a little quirk of your personality. It's an addiction. And like every addiction, it can and will be used against you. Here's how it works. Someone gives you a compliment, a like on your post, or a quick, "You're amazing." Your brain lights up with dopamine, the same chemical that fires when someone takes a hit of a drug. You feel good. Really good. But the high fades fast, and then you're left itching for the next hit. And here's where it gets dangerous. People around you catch on. They realize that with just a sprinkle of praise, they can get you to do almost anything. Want you to stay late at work? A quick line about your incredible work ethic. Need money? A compliment about your generous heart. Want you to ignore their toxic behavior? Some sweet talk about how understanding you are. They're hacking your brain chemistry, and you're letting them. Worse, you're helping them do it. By being desperate for validation, you've made yourself easy to manipulate. This is the real danger of approval addiction. It hands people the remote control to your life. They don't need to force you. They don't need to threaten you. They just press your validation button, and suddenly you're doing their bidding. But here's the thing. Someone who doesn't need approval, they're impossible to control. You can't manipulate them with compliments if compliments don't fuel them. You can't bribe them with acceptance if acceptance isn't their drug. Their emotions are untouchable because they don't tie their worth to anyone else's opinion. And here's the brutal truth. Validation is cheap to give, but costly to depend on. It costs someone nothing to say, "You're wonderful." But for you, that one cheap word becomes the lifeline you chase again and again. You hand over your power just to keep hearing it. Machiavelli warned about this centuries ago. He who neglects what is done for what ought to be done sooner affects his ruin than his preservation. Translation: when you live for what others think you should be, instead of standing firm in who you really are, you destroy yourself. Think about it. Approval addicts shapeshift depending on who they're with. They wear different faces in different rooms. They soften their opinions, hide their truths, and trade authenticity for acceptance. They become a pile of masks instead of a real person. Meanwhile, people who don't need approval are rock solid. They're the same in every room. They speak their truth whether others nod or roll their eyes. They don't bury their identity to keep others comfortable. And ironically, that authenticity, being real, raw, and unapologetic, earns them more respect and genuine admiration than the people pleasers will ever know. Breaking the cycle isn't easy. Your brain will scream at you. It'll whisper that without approval, you'll end up alone. It'll guilt trip you for daring not to care. It'll beg you to crawl back to that familiar hit of validation. But this is where discipline saves you. You have to stand tall, even when every nerve in your body begs you to bow. You have to be willing to be disliked, misunderstood, even criticized. Because your own opinion matters more than all of theirs combined. Say it with me. My validation comes from within. The rules of commanding respect. Now let's get practical. How do you go from being someone people walk over to someone who commands respect without even trying? These aren't theories. These are timeless principles that work every single time. Rule 1. Speak less. Act more. Most people talk too much. They over-explain, justify, and beg to be understood. All that explaining reeks of weakness. People who command respect don't waste words. They talk when they have something meaningful to say. And let their actions do the rest. When someone disrespects you, don't give them a lecture on boundaries. Just enforce one. When someone crosses a line, don't explain why it matters. Show them it matters through consequence. When someone questions your decision, don't defend yourself endlessly. Just stand firm. Machiavelli once said, "The lion cannot protect himself from traps, and the fox cannot defend himself from wolves. One must therefore be a fox to recognize traps, and a lion to frighten wolves." Be strategic like the fox. Be strong like the lion. Rule 2. Never chase approval. This one's simple but brutal. no matter how badly you want someone to like you. Don't chase. Don't double text when they go quiet. Don't bend yourself to fix their mood. Don't scramble to win back someone who's cold. Chasing approval screams desperation, and desperation kills respect. Instead, stay unmoved. If they like you, good. If they don't, that's their loss. That calm indifference is magnetic. People can't figure out why you don't need their validation. And that mystery pulls them closer. Respect follows naturally. Respect isn't something you earn by groveling, pleasing, or performing. Respect is something you command by refusing to be controlled. The moment you stop needing their approval is the moment you finally take back your power. Rule 3. Stay cold and calm under fire. When someone comes at you with insults, cheap shots, or an attempt to push your buttons, everything comes down to your reaction. Blow up, get defensive, or let anger take the wheel. And they win. Why? Because you just proved they control your emotions. And the person who controls your emotions controls you. But when you stay steady, calm, detached, even a little amused, you flip the script. You send a message to everyone watching, you can't touch me. You become psychologically untouchable. That scares manipulators more than anything else. People who rely on stirring your emotions crumble when they realize their favorite weapon doesn't work on you. Rule 4. Stay unpredictable. Predictable people are easy to control. If others always know how you'll respond, they can plan their moves around you and bend your behavior to fit their agenda. So stop being predictable. Keep people guessing. Sometimes be generous. Sometimes pull back. Sometimes be warm. Sometimes keep your distance. Sometimes help. Sometimes make it clear you're looking out for yourself first. That unpredictability forces people to tread carefully. It demands respect because they can't map out how to manipulate you. Machiavelli said it best. Since love and fear can hardly exist together, if we must choose between them, it is far safer to be feared than loved. Don't lock yourself into being endlessly nice, but don't become permanently harsh either. Blend both strategically. That balance makes you powerful. Rule 5. Enforce boundaries quickly and quietly. When someone crosses a line, the speed of your response matters more than how severe it is. A fast, clear consequence teaches better than a delayed explosion. And here's the key. Don't over-explain. Silence speaks louder than lectures. Don't warn people over and over. Don't hand out endless second chances. Don't waste breath justifying why their behavior was wrong. Act immediately, make it clear, and move forward. This shows everyone your boundaries aren't suggestions. They're law. Say this to yourself: I am unmovable. Rule 6. Use scarcity and distance as power multipliers. Most people get this completely backwards. They think being always available makes them valuable. They think saying yes to everything makes them indispensable. They think giving unlimited access to their time and attention makes them loved. They're wrong. Scarcity creates value. Always has. Always will. When something is rare, people want it more. When something is common, it fades into the background. And this principle applies to you more than anything else. When you're always there, people stop appreciating you. When you always say yes, they stop valuing your cooperation. When you always forgive, they stop worrying about hurting you. But when your time is limited, when your attention is scarce, when your forgiveness has conditions, suddenly people wake up. Suddenly they treat you like the rare, valuable presence you really are. Think about the people who hold the most social power. Are they the ones who show up to every single event, who agree with everyone, who never say no? Of course not. They're the ones who choose where to be, leave when they want, and say no without explanation. Their selective presence makes their actual presence priceless. This is the power of distance. Not cruelty, not coldness. Just being intentional about where you spend your energy. Your time and attention are limited resources. If you give them freely to everyone, they lose all worth. If you give them selectively to people who truly appreciate them, they become gold. Machiavelli once wrote, "Men judge generally more by the eye than by the hand. For everyone can see, and few can feel. Everyone sees what you appear to be. Few really know what you are." The less people see of you, the more they wonder. And curiosity is magnetic. How it plays out. Instead of being the person who responds to every text instantly, be the one who responds on your own time. Instead of attending every invitation, be selective. Instead of handing help to anyone who asks, help the people who have proven they deserve it. The beauty of scarcity is that it feeds itself. The less available you are, the more people crave your attention. The more they crave it, the better they treat you. The better they treat you, the more selective you can afford to be. It becomes an upward spiral of respect and influence. And yes, you'll lose some people in the process. The ones who only liked you because you were easy to access will fade away. Let them. Those weren't real relationships anyway. What remains are the ones who truly respect you, who appreciate your boundaries, who value your presence. Those are the connections worth keeping. Distance also clears your head. When you stop drowning in everyone else's demands, you finally have space to focus on what you want. When you stop reacting to others, you start building your own path. That's why the strongest people often seem a little detached. It's not that they don't care. It's that they don't care too much. They know that emotional distance keeps their vision sharp and their decisions strong. The transformation. So what happens when you start living this way? When you stop begging for approval and start commanding respect. When you let go of the addiction to being liked and embrace the power of being respected, everything changes. You walk differently. You speak differently. You carry yourself like someone who knows their value. And people feel it. Respect becomes automatic. And the people who once took you for granted, they won't even recognize you anymore. And I mean everything. The moment you stop living for approval, your life shifts in ways you never imagined. First, your relationships transform. Not all of them. Let's be real. Some people will despise the new you because they can't pull your strings anymore. They'll slip away, and that's fine. What remains are the relationships that actually matter. The ones that go deeper, because people are finally connecting with the real you, not the people-pleasing mask you used to wear. Second, confidence becomes real. Not the fragile kind that only exists when someone else is clapping for you. I'm talking about the kind of confidence that's solid, unshakable. The kind that comes from knowing your worth isn't up for negotiation. You stop second-guessing yourself because you stop caring whether others approve of your choices. Third, opportunity finds you. You don't chase it anymore. It comes to you. People seek your opinion because they know you'll tell them the truth, not what they want to hear. They offer you bigger roles, better positions, because they know you won't settle for scraps. You've stopped begging, so they start offering. Fourth, stress falls away. The weight of constantly managing everyone else's emotions and expectations, gone. Life gets simpler, cleaner. You finally have the space to focus on what actually matters, instead of obsessing over who you might have upset. Fifth, freedom. Real freedom. This is the most important change. You become free. Free from the endless cycle of chasing approval and dodging disapproval. Free from being a different version of yourself in every room you walk into. Free to live authentically, unapologetically, as you. Machiavelli once said, "It is not titles that honor men, but men that honor titles." Your worth has never come from what people think about you. It comes from who you decide to be and how you choose to show up in the world. The discomfort before the breakthrough. Make no mistake, this transformation isn't smooth. You'll be tempted to slide back into old habits when things get tough. You'll wonder if you're being too harsh when someone pushes against your new boundaries. You'll second-guess yourself when people react badly to the stronger you. But here's the truth. On the other side of that discomfort is a version of you you've never fully met before. Someone who commands respect without ever begging for it. Someone who attracts genuine relationships without chasing anyone down. Someone who owns real power without abusing it. The world is full of people desperate to be liked, but it's starving for people who command respect. Which one will you be? Why you're different. If you've made it this far, you're already not like most people. Most can't stomach uncomfortable truths. Most would rather stay cozy and powerless than face how much of their life has been built on handing away their power. But you're still here. That means you're ready. Ready to step out of being the doormat. Ready to stop begging for approval. Ready to stop giving your power away. This isn't about being harsh. Don't mistake this for cruelty. This isn't about being cold. It's about being strong. It's about finally understanding your worth and refusing to accept less than respect. It's about breaking the chains of approval addiction and walking into the power that's been sitting inside you all along. The principles we've covered. Speaking less and acting more. Never chasing approval. Staying calm under attack. Being unpredictable. Enforcing boundaries fast. Using scarcity strategically. These aren't tricks. They're a way of life. A way of moving through the world that commands respect without you ever having to shout for it. Machiavelli also said, "The wise man does at once what the fool does finally." Don't wait years to reclaim your power. Don't wait until you're exhausted, bitter, and resentful to finally set boundaries. Start today. Start with your very next interaction. The choice is yours, your future self. The one who commands respect, who lives authentically, who never needs anyone's approval to feel whole, is waiting. The only question is, how long are you going to make them wait? If this message woke something up inside you, share it. If you know someone who needs to hear it, send it their way. If you want more truth that cuts through the noise, stick around. The journey from people pleaser to respected individual starts with one step. You've already taken it by seeing yourself in these words. Now take the next step by living them. Say this out loud. Respect is my birthright. Because in a world full of people begging to be liked, the person who doesn't need approval is the one who holds all the cards. Be that person. Command the respect you've always deserved. And watch everything in your life change the moment you stop giving your power away.